Chairman Filner, honorable members of the House Veterans Affairs Committee, on behalf of Elise England Hackworth, chairperson of the Board of Trustees of Soldiers for the Truth Foundation, I am humbled to appear before your committee. Recent events show that this oversight function of your committee is critical to ensure that the well-being of our veterans is, in fact, the highest priority of the VA. These events demonstrate that without congressional oversight, true concern for the well-being of our veterans can deteriorate into mere lip service of an indifferent and self-serving bureaucracy. I note that you have scheduled a most impressive group of experts on various medical and ethical issues related to human subject experiments as conducted by the VA. I do not bring their expertise to this hearing. What I do bring is the experience of a career Marine Corps officer who believes that our nation has a sacred responsibility to care for those who have manned the ramparts of freedom on our behalf. I also bring the skepticism of a journalist who for 18 years has investigated misconduct by various federal agencies in the areas of defense and national security. Let me now turn to today's hearing. While studying the experience of Army combat veteran James Elliott, I was struck by three major questions. My first question relates to the Hippocratic Oath and a physician's first responsibility to do no harm. How then did the VA physicians involved in planning and conducting this drug study fulfill their duties under this pledge? Here are some related follow-up questions to consider. Would these physicians have subjected their own sons or daughters to such a high-risk drug study? And would they have failed to inform their own children of the substantial risk this study entailed? My second question relates to the Nuremberg Code and the fact that informed consent of all human subjects in medical experiments is an absolute requirement under this code. As you may recall, it was the exposure of the most heinous and gruesome medical experiments by Nazi doctors that led to enacting the Nuremberg Code. Our country's own history has, unfortunately, too many examples of medical experiments on unwitting subjects. The infamous Tuskegee syphilis experiment is perhaps the best known of such shocking violations by physicians of their own Hippocratic Oath. I have attached to this statement a Knight Ridder press report dated July 7 regarding the federal criminal prosecution of a former VA staff physician at the Stratton VA Medical Center in Albany, New York. The federal prosecutor asked the court to sentence this former VA physician, and I quote, to spend a year in prison for his role in a drug research scandal that killed at least one veteran and victimized dozens more, end quote. I've subsequently learned that this committee had a major role in that investigation. If it pleases the chairman, I respectfully request this article be included in the record.
Yes, so ordered.
My last question for your consideration involves the participants themselves, the veterans with PTSD who were recruited by VA staff to become the subjects of this drug study. Why were members of a group who, by the VA's own diagnoses, were struggling to return to mental health normality selected for this study? The mental health of these veterans was known to have been what a layman would term fragile. Special caution and prudence should have been invoked before exposing them to a drug study where, by definition, unknown factors risk further damage to their mental health. Instead, the very VA physicians trusted to help these vets regain a more normal mental condition enticed the vets to join a game of mental health roulette while withholding critical information that would have permitted true, informed consent to have been given. Sir, this concludes my prepared statement. I stand ready to respond to any questions that the committee members may offer.